Hello and welcome back to Speak More Fluently.
Great to be here.
Today we're going to unlock something really important. A kind of secret weapon, maybe?
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it's something that'll help you understand native speakers way better, but also, crucially, make your own English sound incredibly smooth, more natural.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this.
We're doing a deep dive into how words connect when we talk. Connected speech.
Exactly. It's often overlooked, isn't it? People focus on individual words.
They do. But understanding this, trust me, it could be that missing piece you've been looking for, the thing that bridges the gap to speaking with, well, real confidence and flow.
That's absolutely right, because when we speak naturally, we don't pronounce every single word perfectly isolated.
Right, it's not like reading a list.
Not at all. There's a flow, a kind of rhythm, words blend together. And this blending, well, that's connected speech.
So it's the glue holding sentences together smoothly.
That's a great way to put it. It's the sonic glue, fundamental to how fluent English really works.
Okay, so it's not about just perfect pronunciation of each word alone. It's the interaction between them.
Precisely.
Can you give us a picture? Like, what does this actually sound like? Maybe focusing on consonants first.
Sure. A really common type is when a word ends with a consonant sound. Okay, and the very next word starts with a vowel sound.
Yep.
Instead of a gap, that final consonant sound often just links across. It attaches to the vowel, creates a really seamless transition.
Ah, so they kind of merge.
Exactly. Take a simple phrase like turn off.
Mm-hmm.
You'll often hear it sound more like turn off. That in sound just slides right over to the O.
Turn off. Okay, I hear that.
Or another one, pick it up. Fluent speakers will often say something like pick it up.
Pecky tup. Wow, yeah, it almost sounds like one long word.
It does. It melts them together. Have you noticed that when you're listening sometimes? It can be tricky.
Definitely. That's probably why sometimes it feels like people are speaking so fast, they're skipping those tiny pauses I expect.
That's often exactly what's happening. It's connection, not necessarily speed.
Okay. Are there other ways these consonant sounds connect? Other sort of sneaky tricks?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes, to make the flow even smoother, especially between two vowel sounds, speakers might actually insert an extra little sound.
Insert a sound, like one that isn't written down.
Exactly. We sometimes call them intrusive linking sounds. Often it's a little W sound, or a J sound like a Y sound, or even an R sound in some accents.
Whoa, okay. Intrusive sounds. That sounds, well, counterintuitive almost. Why add sounds?
It's all about ease of transition. It helps bridge the gap between vowel shapes in the mouth, maintaining the rhythm without an awkward pause or effort.
Okay, I need examples for this one. How does that work in, like, everyday chat?
Sure. Think about go on.
Go on? Okay.
You might naturally hear a little Jogo sneak in. Go on. It just smooths the O to O transition.
Go on. Huh. Yeah, I think I do that maybe.
Or if you say, I agree, between the I and the A, you might perceive a tiny yo sound. I agree.
I agree.
Right.
It stops at being I agree.
Exactly. And that intrusive R often pops up in non-rhotic accents like British English. So law and order might sound like law rand order.
Law, rand, order.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. It really is about making it easier to say, isn't it? Finding the path of least resistance for the mouth.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Okay, so we've got consonants linking to vowels, intrusive sounds popping up. What if a word ends with the same sound the next one begins with? Like, big game.
Ah, yes. Good question. Do they shake hands, you ask?
Yeah, something like that.
It's actually more like they merge, become one. When you have that identical consonant boundary, we usually don't pronounce two separate sounds.
So you don't say big go game.
No, exactly. It becomes one slightly longer or maybe just held sound. Big aim. The two G sounds fuse.
Big M, okay.
Or another one, red dress. You don't typically hear red duh dress. It sounds more like redress.
Redress, yeah, that feels much more efficient. Less clunky.
It is. It avoids that repetition and keeps the rhythm flowing much more smoothly.
Okay, this is all really clicking now. We have these different ways sounds link up C to V, intrusive sounds, identical sounds merging. But let's connect this back to the listener. Why should someone really focus on this aspect of English?
Right, the why bother question. Well, it's absolutely crucial for a couple of big reasons. First, your listening skills.
How so?
Because native speakers use these connections constantly, all the time. If your brain is waiting for each word to sound distinct, like it looks on the page, well, you're going to miss things.
You'll get lost because the sounds aren't matching your expectations.
Exactly. You might think someone's speaking incredibly fast, or you just won't parse the words correctly. Recognizing these links helps you decode that natural stream of sound much, much better, whether it's a movie, a podcast, or just chatting with someone.
Okay, so it unlocks understanding real-world English. Makes sense. What about for our own speaking? How does knowing this help us sound better?
That's the other side of the coin. When you start consciously using these linking techniques yourself, your own speech transforms. It becomes much more natural, smoother, more native-like in its rhythm and flow. You stop sounding like you're reading words off a list and start sounding like you're actually speaking the language fluently.
And that must boost confidence, too.
Immensely. Because you sound more natural, you feel more natural. Plus, focusing on these connections can genuinely improve your overall pronunciation. It helps you override maybe some speech habits from your first language that make English sound a bit stiff or choppy.
That's a huge motivator, understanding better and sounding more fluent and natural ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sold. How do we actually practice this? How can people start getting the hang of hearing and using these links?
Great question. There are some really practical things you can do. One very effective technique is called shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah. You listen to a short clip of natural English, maybe just a sentence or two, and you immediately try to repeat it exactly as you hear it.
Like an echo.
Kind of, yeah. But you focus intently on mimicking the rhythm, the intonation, and especially those word connections. Where do the sounds link? Where do they merge?
So you're training your mouth and ears simultaneously to copy the natural flow.
Precisely. It helps you internalize those patterns almost unconsciously.
That sounds powerful, if maybe a bit tricky at first. What's another exercise? Maybe something focused more on listening.
Definitely. You could try what I sometimes call micro-dictations.
Micro-dictations.
You listen to very short sentences spoken naturally, and you just try to write down exactly what you hear. The key is you're listening specifically for where those links happen.
Ah, so you're training your ear to pinpoint the connections.
Exactly. It makes those patterns much more obvious. Like you might hear a sentence, she picked it up quickly, and when you write it, you might notice it sounded like, she picked it up quickly? That forces you to recognize the blending.
Got it. So shadowing for overall flow, microdictations to sharpen the ear for specific links. What about actively practicing the speaking part?
Reading aloud is fantastic for this, but with a specific focus. Choose a short text. Read it aloud, but consciously, deliberately make those connections. Link final consonants to initial vowels. Merge those identical consonants. Really exaggerate it if you need to at first.
Okay, being very intentional about it.
Yes. And here's a pro tip. Record yourself doing it.
Oh, the dreaded recording.
I know. Nobody likes hearing their own voice, but it's so valuable. Record yourself, then maybe find a recording of a native speaker reading the same text. Or just listen back critically. Compare. Where does your linking sound different? Where could it be smoother?
That direct comparison sounds incredibly useful, even if slightly painful initially. Okay, so shadowing, microdictations, focused reading aloud with recording. These are great tools. Any final tips for making this stick? How do we weave this into daily practice?
Yeah, a few things. Firstly, just listen actively. Pay attention all the time. When you watch a movie, listen to music, talk to people, consciously tune your ear into how they connect words. Just noticing is a big step.
Become a connection detective.
Exactly. Secondly, consistency. Make these exercises part of your routine. Even 5 or 10 minutes a day, focusing on linking will make a difference over time. It's not about hours, it's about regularity.
Little and often. Makes sense.
And finally, don't be afraid to seek feedback. If you have a language partner, a teacher, a tutor, ask them specifically. Say, can you listen to how I connect my words? Am I doing it naturally? Getting targeted feedback is gold.
Fantastic advice. Active listening, regular practice, seeking feedback.
Got it. So wrapping this up, it feels like mastering this consonant linking, this connected speech, is a really fundamental step.
It absolutely is. It takes you from just knowing words to actually using English in a fluid, natural way, both in understanding and speaking.
It's about grasping the melody of the language, not just the individual notes.
Beautifully put. Understanding and using these techniques boosts your listening, makes your speaking more fluent, and ultimately builds that confidence we're all aiming for. This has been incredibly insightful, thank you. And for all of you listening right now, here's a challenge. The next time you hear English spoken, actively listen for these connections. Just pick one type, maybe that consonant to vowel link, like pick it up, notice it, then maybe try using it consciously yourself just once or twice. See how it feels.
Yeah, great idea.
And maybe think about this. Which type of linking we discussed today surprised you the most? Or which one feels like it might be the trickiest for you to master, and why? Just reflecting on that can be a really interesting part of your journey as you continue to speak more fluently.